Hello and welcome to Psalm a Day. My name is Evan. I'm one of the ministers at St Mary's Anglican Church. And today for Psalm a Day, we're looking at Psalm 119 and going from verses 129 all the way to 152. And in these stanzas, in these little sections, there's some particularly wonderful things. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it now. So it'd be better in your own time or perhaps just to pause the video now and read it for yourself. But we're just going to do a very basic little Swedish method. I've already read it. I've already had a look through it and a bit of a reflection on it. And I've come up with three things. I've come up with something that kind of sticks out to me or kind of stayed on my mind after I read through it. I've looked back through and I found a question, and I also have something to do in light of the passage. And so, from our section of Psalm 119 today, the bit that stuck out to me was how the psalmist or psalmists weeps over people who don't know the Lord and don't know the Lord's word. In particular, Let's look at verse 136. Streams of tears flow from my eyes, for your law is not obeyed. And so perhaps maybe that's the psalmist's respect for the Lord and love for the Lord. And he is dismayed that the Lord, who is so powerful and so mighty, isn't obeyed. And if we go a little bit further down, we can see in verse 139, my zeal wears me out, for my enemies ignore your words. And so the psalmist is so on fire for the Lord and so keen to ensure that the Lord's word is heard, and wants to live for the Lord. But he is exasperated, he is exhausted because he lives in a world where the Lord's word isn't cared for, isn't valued, and isn't listened to. But there isn't actually a part in the last stanza, in the Kolf stanza, that reflects on something like this. So we might just park that one. But just thinking about the first two, this attitude, particularly the one from the first one we read out, from, what verse was it? 136, really struck me. And I asked myself the question, is my love for the Lord so great that it upsets me for him that people don't listen to him? Maybe sometimes we think of Christianity and we think of the word as our way, as our thing. And so when people don't agree with us, when people don't treat the word with the same respect, we are inclined to be disappointed because that's our thing. Why don't they agree with us? Why don't they understand? But the true, but I guess the righteousness of the psalmist here comes from such a love for the Lord that he is disappointed on the Lord's behalf that people haven't and don't turn to him. And I don't think I've ever thought about this particular way. Do I get disappointed on the Lord's behalf? Because as a person, as a sinful person, I'm so self-centered, I'm so self-serving that perhaps I never really stopped to think about how people not reading God's word might make him feel. So I'm a bit stumped as to this, but also at the same time, I'm overjoyed that here is another part of God's word, particularly we found in this amazing psalm, that continues to challenge all of us in the way we think about God, in the way we think about other people in relationship to his word. And so what I want to try and do going forward is to continue to reflect on the glory of the Lord, and actually how that comes through my life. Because I think what I try to do as a Christian, and what I think I've been taught to do, is to glorify Him with all of my actions, but and everything I think and say. But what's happening here is the psalmist is disappointed on behalf of God because other people are not glorifying Him. I'm not actually sure how to apply this to my life, so I'm going to keep mulling over it. I'm going to keep reflecting on it. But one thing that I will continue to think about, I don't know if you've noticed the common theme through it, but all of these people are living in a world which doesn't appreciate God's word. And so a lot of the Psalms come from this position of, God, why don't, the people in your creation don't appreciate your word, but this is the way that I'm living, and this is the way that I want to appreciate you. And so maybe in my head, in my heart, I want to write my own little section of Psalm 119. Did I say 139 earlier? Sorry, 119. And what would I say? That might be a good exercise for me to do today and for you to do. If you were to write your own, 7 or 8 verse section of Psalm 119, what would you say? What would you write? I would actually love to hear from you what you've written. And if enough people want it, I might share what I've written. That would be really, really lovely. Yeah. How about, take the things that you've learned from this psalm so far and write them down in your own little section. And let's see where they take us. It sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Grace and peace to you.